Welcome to Quick Bytes, the lunchtime live stream with your tech integration specialist, Scott Conway. Welcome and thank you for joining me today on this episode of Quick Bytes, the lunchtime live stream. We are going to be exploring the ability to create an online quiz with Google Forms and show you just what you can do with this kind of quizzes feature that's now built into Forms, and it's been there actually for quite a while. The most recent release in the Google Forms quiz arena has been the ability to lock or go into a locked mode on a Chromebook. And that does have some separate considerations and requirements. Typically, everyone's got to be obviously on a Chromebook, and it would probably be easier to facilitate from one location. So in this era of remote learning, that might not necessarily work too well because students are on different devices and a lot of different factors. So just know that there is a locked mode. It does require the students to be on a Chromebook, and not that we're going to go into too much on that today, but that is the most recent release. Google Forms have been around for a while. The Google Forms quiz feature has been around for a little bit, and that's what we're going to show you today, and how you can kind of automate this online quiz so that you can have it automatically score and grade the quiz for you. You can also build in some manual grading as well. So we're going to demonstrate this today. So I just want to show you what it looks like. Let's get out of here, and we're going to cut over to, I have already kind of, for the sake of time, prepared a self-correcting 5-question quiz just to kind of demonstrate so we don't spend too much time doing that. I've got some of it built already, and I've left some of it undone so that I can show you. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to create a quiz. Now, I did mention in the session details that we're going to talk about the integration with Google Classroom. And please know you can start a form one of two ways: directly from Google Drive, or if you are a Google Classroom user, you can create an assignment from the classwork page that involves a Google form. And when you do that, the integration in Google Classroom will allow the student to take the quiz just as normal, but when they hit submit, they're basically clicking that turn in button as well. So you will see in Google Classroom the fact that the student has submitted the quiz, taken it, and then if it is a self-grading quiz, you'll also see the grade rate there too. So it's got some nice integration within the Google Classroom world. So if you are a Google Classroom user, create a quiz from an assignment, or if you already have the quiz created in Drive, create your assignment and attach the Google form. You could do it one of two ways. You can either build it right on the spot, or you can have a pre-built quiz from Google Forms. But the integration in Classroom is really nice because it automates the turn-in process, and it also shows you the grade, puts it right into the Google Classroom gradebook. So nice little feature, nice little integration. That's kind of all I want to address on that. Just know that it exists, and it does work really well. So if we're going to standalone create a quiz, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to come in, you're going to give it a title. Now the title in the upper left-hand corner here, self-correcting 5-question quizzes. For me, that's the name of the file. But then when you come into the form under section 1 of 3 here in the question tab, you'll see this is the name of the quiz that the students will see on the preview side, and I'll show you what the preview looks like shortly once we get through this. So there's the title of the quiz. It's public facing. You can see you have instructions right below it. You cannot submit the exam until all questions are answered, and you can give additional instructions there. And then as I move down, you'll see that the little question section additional features bar kind of moves with me. My first question is first name, and last name is the second question. Third question I have here is period. I want to be able to know who submitted the quiz and what period they're from so that I can do a little bit of analytics. Maybe class by class, which class did better than another. By asking the question what period or what class you're from, I'm able to do that post-analysis. If you don't ask the question, you're not going to be able to do that post-analysis. So if you care about gender, you could ask male, female, what's your gender? And you could do a post-analysis on that. You could do a post-analysis on pretty much whatever you ask. It's just you have to ask it. If you don't, you can't do it. So in this case, I've got first and last name just for identification purposes, and then period might be how I analyze which class is doing better or worse than other. So those are the questions. Now, I do have, you can see it's kind of grayed out here. This form is automatically collecting email addresses. That's another setting that I have turned on, and I want to talk about this right now because these forms, when you create a Google form, unlike anything else in the Google Drive world, a Google form is a public-facing item or element, and I could show you that by clicking on the preview here. I only be signed into Google Drive to see the page that I'm showing you right now. So that's how Google Forms kind of operates. It's just a public-facing link. It's a URL that any person can click on. Now, we've taken some extra steps in this form to lock it down, and I'm going to show you that. But just know, right out of the box, Google Forms is going to be public-facing for the View Form link. Okay. I'm going to go into settings because I want to show you what we have done for this. And in the settings area under General, you see I want to collect email addresses. I might use that. I may need that to email results back to a student. I may just do it for verification purposes that this person is who they say they are, especially when it comes to a graded quiz. Right down here under require sign-in, this is where I kind of curtail that ability for anyone else to kind of get into my form. So the only thing I can really do is restrict it to users in my organization and any other trusted organizations that your Google admin may have turned on or made available. So right away, this checkbox right here blocks out the rest of the world. You have to be, in this case, a staff or a student in our domain, in our organization to be able to do this. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone is going to be able to. I still have to send the link to this form to those people or post it in Google Classroom. Not anyone is going to just be able to find this and start taking it. That's not the case. It just means that I've locked this down an extra step. One item below that, under the require sign-in, I can limit this to one response. Now, this is another good reason or another good feature for the quiz. I only want my students taking this once. That's it. It's a quiz, it's graded, respondents will be required to sign into Google. That's the key. I want to be able to know that that person is who they say they are, especially on a graded item. Now, below that, I have respondents can edit after submit on a quiz. Not something I'm going to give them the option to do. See a summary of chart and text responses again on a quiz, not something I'm going to want to give them to do. They'll get feedback. They'll get individual feedback, but this is feedback for the entire form and everyone that's submitted, so that's not something that I want to do. We're not using a presentation here. I'll say it's a simple quiz. It's one page, so I don't really need to show a progress bar, and I don't want to shuffle the question order. I could shuffle the question order, actually, that in this case would work. Just be careful if you add pictures or videos as prefixes to a question. Shuffling the question order might mess that up for you, okay? And then once you're done, you can write a little message here. Actually, I don't want to call this an exam. I want to call it a quiz. So this is the message that the person's going to get once they click the submit button. It just says, you have handed in your quiz. Now you can write more text, give more instructions, ask them to go do something else. You could put a hyperlink in here, a URL, and it actually will convert to a hyperlink that's a clickable link. So then all the way to the far right, quizzes. This is the big one. This is what's going to turn this into an online quiz and allow us to do that automated grading. So you have to toggle this on, make it a quiz, and then as you move down, here you go. Here's your quiz options. Locked mode on Chromebooks that I talked about. It does have to be done using a managed Chromebook. So if your student is using a personal Chromebook that their parent bought them, will not work. If they're using a MacBook Air or a Windows laptop or Windows desktop or a tablet, it will not work. Okay, the form will work on any device. The form will work on a cell phone, for that matter, a smartphone. It's really good. Forms are great anywhere, but the locked mode will only work on a managed Chromebook. So it has to be a Chromebook given to the student by the district and is managed in order for that to work. All right, releasing the grade. Immediately after each submission. Now, each submission, that's not each question that they answer. That's the entire form. When they're done, they hit submit. It's going to automatically grade the questions based on the answers you put in, and it's going to give them the feedback immediately. Now, if all of your questions are multiple choice or, objective style questions, then you can probably do that fairly easily. Even if it's a text entry question, you've got some flexibility in the answer choices that you could have this self-grade entirely. But if you have any subjective style questions built in that maybe you need a written response for, well, you're probably going to want to review that manually, and you're going to have to because the answer is just not going to work for a text area type question. So you might say, well, you know what, I'm going to hold off on releasing the grade until after I do a manual review, and you would check this box here. Now, you can also do a hybrid approach. You can say immediately after each submission, and it will take care of, once the student hits submit, it will actually grade the objective style questions and give them their feedback. However, it's not going to be complete, because if you have a subjective style question also in the mix, well, you're going to have to manually grade that one later. So what you're going to have to do is go in, manually grade that question, and then you're going to have to re-release the grade to the student. So that's the hybrid approach. If there's objective and subjective style questions built in, you can choose either one of these options. But please know, if you do immediately release the results, you're going to have to re-release the results after you manually grade the subjective style questions. So my advice on if you do have any subjective style questions built in, maybe choose the later after manual review and let them all, that way you don't have to re-release any grade updates. But just know that you have that option. It's available to you. You've got to pick and choose what fits best in your circumstances. And then the very last section here, respondent can see missed questions, correct answers, point values. I like to leave these things on. I like to give them the information. If there's some reason you don't want to, turn them off. That's it. And then always click Save. So we've set up we've taken care of the settings for our form. Now we're going to get past kind of the information and into the actual quiz questions. Now I've set up some of these for us, and I've added a couple features to them so that you could see them. And then I want to actually take this quiz. So you can see I have a question here. The first question, spinach is high in which mineral? Iron, magnesium, calcium, zinc. I've got another one about Geiger counters, another one about Babe Ruth, another one about Greek mythology. And then we get to the last one. And it looks, there it is. The full question is missing. So here's the last question that is kind of incomplete. I wish it done. It lost something that I had on here. But so here's the last question. Let's see if this actually works. I'm going to cut it. And so what you do is you open up the question here. Now this is going to be a multiple choice. All of my questions are multiple choice. And I'm going to Control V and see if I can trigger this. There it is. Good. All right. So this is the intuitive nature of Google Forms. Google Forms has advanced quite dramatically over the years. Look at the suggested correct answer. It's actually correct in that it's traditionally there are 7 wonders of the world, and there's the suggested correct answer, and it's right in there. Now I will probably change my results to do this. Let's say I want the first option to be 5, 6, 7, and 8. So what I could do is, and these suggested answers or suggested fill-ins here, you can actually click on that and it will fill in the suggested answer choices for you. So if you ask a true-false question, you state it, or a yes-no question, is the sky blue? It's going to pop up yes, no, or maybe. And you can quickly just click once and it will fill in those 3 answer choices for you. So it's a way to kind of make your quiz creation go faster. It's more convenience. It's a convenience tool. In this case, you can see that it's right. It's even answering the question. So it's pretty cool. Now, this is a quiz. So I do need to make these questions required. And then you'll notice that because we've turned quizzes on, I've got an answer key link down here, and you can see it says 0 points. After creating the question and the answer choices, I need to come down to the answer key. And I click on that, and now I actually can see right here how many points this question worth. Well, my other ones were made 1 point each, and you can see up here in the top right, total points is 5 because I just added 1 more point. So those other 4 questions plus this one makes a point total, of 5. And then I need to actually select which one is correct. So in this case, I'm going to say 7 is the correct answer. Now, based on the question type, if there's multiple select or a select from list, you do have the ability to select multiple correct answers. And in this case, they would have to get all of them correct in order to get the credit. Once I select the correct answer choice, notice that I have the add answer feedback. I can do that. And when I click on that, you can see that I can do it for incorrect answers, give them feedback. If they get it wrong, what do I want to tell them? I can even insert links in YouTube's URLs for them to go, say, watch a video for review. And I'll show you an example of this. You can also give feedback for correct answers, and then you would click Save. Now I'm going to show you, I've done this for one of my other, when you're done, click Done, sorry. And then you go back to the question editing, and you can see now answer key 1 point. So just know that you have to switch between the question edit mode and the answer key mode to be able to address that. Now I'm going to come back up to the first one, because on this one I have done some feedback, and you can see that I've added correct answer feedback. So when they answer it correct, they're going to get this little blurb from me about, iron is a mineral vital to blah, blah, blah. But if they get it wrong, I give them the instructions, please watch this short video. And then I linked in a YouTube video about important minerals you need in the foods that contain them. So this is kind of a way, hey, you got the answer wrong, go do a little 2-minute video, watch it, review it, and understand maybe you'll be able to better answer this question next time. So that is what the question feedback provides them. So now that we're done, I've got all of this saved, and all 5 questions are ready. You can see I did add a third section. You can do that here with add a section, add video, add image, add title and description. I've added a third section just to say, hey, you've completed the quiz. And then all responses will show up here. So now we're going to actually run this through and take this. Let me close that out. Let me come back. Now that everything is all set, I'm going to click on the preview. You can click send, and this will give you the link. The actual URL is right there. If you want to copy this link and send it out as an email, you can do that. You can send it as an email directly from here. You can get an embed code if you're going to put this on a website. But again, if this is a quiz that you're going to be giving students or expecting them to take, my best suggestion would be to go over to Google Classroom now, create an assignment, and add this Google form as the assignment, because then you're going to get that added extra integration with Google Classroom. So that's the best way to kind of release this out to students, especially if you're using a form as an online quiz. You can certainly send forms other ways, but for an online quiz, that's my best suggestion. So let's just actually demonstrate how this works. So now I'm a student. I've opened up Google Classroom. I've seen my assignment for the day is to take this Google Form quiz. I click on the link right from Google Classroom, and here it is. You can see that I'm already signed in. I'm on a Chromebook, or I'm on another computer that I'm signed into Chrome. So it's already capturing my organizational account. Now, if I wasn't signed in, it would prompt the user, the student, to sign into their Google account first. And because we said only in our organization, if they try to use a private Gmail, it won't let them. They have to use their organizational account. So I'm technically already signed in because I'm logged into the Google Chrome browser up here in the upper right. So it's fine. It finds me, it knows me, and it sees that I'm in the organization. Those conditions are met. I'm good to go. So now I am going to type and start taking the quiz, my first name, last name, and my period 3. Next. I go to the next section, and I've got my quiz questions. So spinach is high in which mineral? I'm going to say, I'm going to answer this question wrong because I want you to see what it looks like when you get the feedback. I'm going to say magnesium. I'm going to intentionally answer that one wrong. What is a Geiger counter used for? That's radiation. Babe Ruth is associated with baseball. Greek mythology, Midas. Everything you touch turns to gold. It's like the Midas touch, right? All right. So, and then traditionally, how many wonders of the world are there? There's our last question that we just added. I'm going to click next. Now you could have submit right there if you wanted, but in this case, it goes to another one. You've completed the quiz. Please click submit button. Note, none of the questions can be left blank. You can give it all your instructions, whatever instructions you have there. Click submit. Now, because we had those boxes checked on that said feedback right away, here it is. I go ahead and I click view score. Now it's going to take me back into my feedback section, and here's what I submitted. You can see at the top right, I've got a score out of 5. I got a 4 out of 5. That means I got a 90 today. I go down and, oh, spinach is high in which mineral? I put magnesium. The correct answer is actually iron, and now I need to watch this short video. Now, I could have chosen not to show the correct answer, but provided feedback. That's another, you'll have to decide if you want to do that. But I did choose to show the correct answer. So now the student knows that it's iron, and maybe there's not an incentive for them to go watch the video. But if you look, I literally just play it right through here. That's it. I don't get sent out to another, screen, or another tab doesn't open. It literally right here in the feedback. I got the question wrong. It tells me the correct answer, and here's what I need to do to learn a little bit more about minerals. And then as you scroll down, you can see the correct answers. They're all checked. Okay, great. That's it. Now, as I said before, if there is a subjective style question, something that you need to manually grade, it would just show as ungraded. And you can make questions ungraded if you want. Like these demographic questions up here would receive no points. They're just ungraded. I'll show you that. We click on it here, answer key, 0 points, and there's nothing. And here's where, if you have a subjective style question where you can say, this is the correct answer, mark all other answers incorrect, or you might give them variability. So you got a lot of flexibility here, but this is, because it's a name, it's an ungraded, 0 points, don't need it. So that's how you create Google Forms quizzes to make an online quiz for your students. Unfortunately, the locked mode, like I said before, prevents them from going to other tabs during the actual taking of the quiz, but unfortunately, locked mode only works on a managed Chromebook. So you'd have to make sure that setting was there and available to you. And right now, or during remote learning, it may not be. But in a regular classroom, when every student has their district-issued Chromebook sitting in front of them, locked mode will work. So that is Google Forms quizzes. Again, a few things to consider with regard to settings and how you set up your, can they log in, should they log in, restricting it to just your organization. Do you want to collect their email address? A couple things under presentation to consider, maybe the shuffle question order, but again, watch out if you have videos and images attached to those questions. It might shuffle them out of correct order. And then your quizzes tab, this is really where you're going to choose. And like I said with that iron question, if I don't want to show the correct answer, I want them to go work for it, I would turn that off. It would not tell them what the correct answer was. It would just say, you got magnesium wrong, and here you got the wrong answer, and here's where you go to find the answer. And that would kind of take care of that for you. So, things to consider. I don't see any questions. I know we went a little over time today, but all of this is really, really good stuff that you can start using today. Again, you can create your Google Form online quiz directly from Drive, and attach it as an assignment in Classroom, or go right into Classroom and create your online quiz right from your assignment page by picking a Google Form, and it will let you do it from there too. So you got 2 ways to kind of initiate that process, but a great little tool to kind of solicit feedback and or formative assessment, or informal assessment for that matter, for students in an online environment like we're in right now. This is a great tool to kind of facilitate that. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope you join us again.